So tonight I'm going to talk about Sharkbite valves and fittings in general. I know a number of people are hyped up into them, and a number of people are bashing them. I've read a number of people who have talked about how they blow off and that type of stuff. But tonight I am going to show you a few things, and we're going to do a little test just to see what kind of bite they do have. Here we're looking at your typical Sharkbite valve, but it's actually not your typical Sharkbite valve. This is a 2-inch Sharkbite valve. That's a 1/2-inch Sharkbite valve. So Sharkbite is made from 1/2-inch right up to 2-inch. I recently installed 1.5 inch. We could not get the water completely shut off in this building, and it's quite interesting on how Sharkbite designed the bigger fittings so that they would be able to you would be able to pull the teeth back when you install them on the pipe. Their system's pretty neat. What they have for the smaller ones, and I think the majority of people probably know this, there's a piece of 1/2-inch PEX. We have a 1/2-inch coupling. I'll go through the whole gamut. This is your depth gauge. So 1/2-inch, 7/8 of an inch. I got in a debate. I didn't get in a debate. One guy was there. He said that 1/2-inch goes in 1/8 or 1 inch. Anyway, I wasn't going to argue with him. Whatever. There is 15/16 is the mark right to the edge. So we're going to slide this 1/2-inch coupling on there just like so, and there we have it. I think you can see, sorry about that, you can see that's the 15/16 mark. It's back a little bit, so 7/8 is how deep they go. 1.1 inch for 3/4, I believe. So when it comes to removing the Sharkbite fitting, it's just a matter of putting the clip on there, and I've said it before, you can use a pipe clip, which I happen to have right here, and do the exact same thing. Just a matter of pulling back on it like so, pushes the teeth back, out it comes. Now what they've done with the larger fittings, up to 1 inch, they provide that style. The larger fittings, you'll note on the valve there's 4, I want to call them knobs, that are sticking out there, and or buttons. You can see the teeth inside there. Myself and a friend of mine just recently did a test with this, and I wouldn't use it unless I had tested it out for myself. But 1.5 inch coupling, we hung a piece of copper, we put a coupling there, we added another piece of pipe, and we started hanging things off it. A 1.5 inch Sharkbite, we got up to 300 pounds, and it didn't move at all. Biggest thing about the Sharkbite fittings is that you have to get the pipe in the full distance. So these are the retaining clips, and these push the, I'll show you, there's an 1.5 inch coupling, for example. You can't push it back the way you can with the smaller fittings. It has to go in, I'm not going to say 1/8 of an inch, but it has to go in a bit. Let's just take the coupling. This clip, I'll buzz this camera around here so I can see it. This clip, it has 3 grooves in it. Right here, I'm hoping that we can see that. They're actually slanted. And what you do, you line up the 4 pieces with the buttons, and you'll see what happens. Let's do it this way so we can get a little better look. and it drops it down just like so. Now when it comes to putting the pipe on, this is an 1.5" coupling, and this was our test piece, 1.5" coupling. Once that's pressed down, it slides in there. There's the depth, an 1.5" fitting. The depth that it goes in is 2¼ inches, and it's just like so. One big thing to remember, that I try and follow closely. If you do cut a piece of pipe, for example, and if the pipe cuts quickly, it's going to flare out the edge here. So you should really deburr it. This is just a piece of 1.5" DWV. We'll take that and file it down, clean it up so that none of these edges hook the O-ring. This is the paper here. I'm just going to let this go. I'll get back to that paper in 1 second. And we put 300 pounds on it, work like a top. So to take it off, just a matter of, lots of things flying here, just a matter of lining that up, turning it like so. It comes off just like a glove. Here are the instructions. This is the largest set of instructions you'll ever see for any Sharkbite fitting. So the first thing you do is cut your copper, cut your PEX, CPVC. Those are the 3 things that Sharkbite work on. Deburr, remove rough edges and debris. Mark pipe. Depth, the most important thing. Even if you were to pinch the O-ring and you didn't clean or deburr the end of the pipe, and you did pinch the O-ring, you just have a leak where if the fitting wasn't on the pipe entirely, the fitting could blow off, and that is where people are having problems as far as I'm concerned, because I've done numerous things now with the Sharkbites as far as testing goes, and they take a bite. There's no doubt about it, and we're going to see in a little bit exactly what takes place. PEX stiffener is required. That's if you're using PEX only, and I went to the PEX site. I read everything there was to read about it. Now what it said was the option was yours whether or not you wanted to actually remove the sleeve or leave the sleeve there when it came to the copper. It has to go in with the PEX, but you can either leave it or remove it. It's up to you. So anyway, this is insert to correct depth mark, and disconnect clip. There you go. You're good to go. Locate, disconnect, get disconnection clip. Yeah, alright, that's just to dismantle it. I think we're not getting into that. But biggest thing to remember, mark your depth. I know a lot of people aren't going to be using, the majority of people probably won't be using anything that size, but you'll maybe using something this size. So mark the pipe. Don't just say, okay, yeah, it feels like it's on there all the way, because something that's rather interesting with these, I'll just slide this on here for example. Alright, that is buried. The thing that's interesting about the Sharkbite is that when the pressure's on it, you can actually take that and move it around like so. 70 pounds, had it on there 3 weeks ago. 70 pounds, I moved it, and it just spun right around. It was something to think about when I was leaving. I couldn't believe it was watertight. So that's using a clamp. Anyway, there's the 3 sizes: the 2-inch, 1.5", and the 1.25". Those are the retaining clips that you need to remove and to install the Sharkbite. It makes things a whole lot easier. Anyway, stay tuned, because there is a little something I'm about to do. There's a 1/2 inch piece of pipe I just threw a bolt through, and I'm going to start marking a few pieces of pipe, I guess, first, just to stick to what I'm saying. so that nobody will be saying any differ. One. Should have had these done. Sorry, folks. And this is going to be an experiment that I'm going to try. So, if you stay tuned, you'll see exactly what I'm doing very shortly. So this is a test that I thought I'd do. We have a piece of copper, and that bolt that I showed on the video earlier, I have that tied with a piece of rope around an I-beam in the garage. Here's a Sharkbite valve, a piece of PEX, a Sharkbite coupling, a piece of copper, Sharkbite sleeve coupling, a piece of PEX, and a 3/4 by 3/4 by half Sharkbite T. So I'm just going to pan down here, just a little to show you what I've done so far. And we have suspended in air, hanging off the T, is 25, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. That is a good chunk of weight. I took my vise also, I put it up there, it weighs 34 pounds. I weighed it beforehand, had no problem at all. Now I'm going to try something that I probably shouldn't try, but just to see if it'll work. We'll see what happens here. Hopefully I'm not going to break too many limbs. I am going to hang on this. 175 pounds. Just going to have 1 foot free. And there we go. Pretty impressive. So that's 1/2 inch Sharkbite at its best. Right now it's holding 275 pounds. Anyway, I'm not going to dance up there too much longer, but for those people that say that the Sharkbite fittings blow off, the big thing, and I'm stressing this, is to make sure that they're on all the way. If they are, the chances of them blowing off are slim to none. Anyway, thanks for watching, and have a great evening.